Monique van Dusseldorp here from Amsterdam. I'm very happy with our panel today, and we're going to talk about the abundance of content. We miss one person. Michael of Vodafone unfortunately could not make it. We wish him the best, but we are delighted that we have 3 people with us who have very different approaches to solving this riddle, you know, the abundance of content and getting the right content to the right people at the right time on the right device. There's lots to discuss here. Let me first introduce our 3 panelists. Let's start with Shem Asiak of Orange. Shem, hello.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't know where people are actually, so.
Oh, that's true. You know, good morning, good evening, and good night. You're head of content. Let me just get you the right. Senior Vice President TV, I should say, of Orange, which means you're responsible for the launch of new products and services, correct? And you've been in this industry for a very long time, because I see Open TV, NDS, Qualcomm, Vice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know this.
Don't remind me that I'm getting very old.
We all are. We're here together for the last 30 years. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm asking everybody one question just to kick off with. What have you been doing the last year? What was the big challenge the last year? What is your focus? What has been your focus?
Well, actually, we had a lot of new services to launch. So obviously, considering the conditions, the challenge was even bigger than usual. So I'm quite happy to see that most of the project, not to say all of the project that we are planning to launch, were actually launched. And
okay, give me one. What is the one you most? Yeah, what's the one you are most proud of? One project that you think like, oh.
Actually, I mean. One of the projects might seem a little bit odd, because it's really aside from the discussion we have, which is we are putting together a kind of new audiovisual studio in one of our facilities, and we had to have third-party people coming to the site to install a lot of things. So we had to manage new people coming to the site with all the sanitary conditions. So it was quite of a challenge to have our people on site when they were not supposed to be on site. Obviously, respecting all the sanitary conditions and bringing people on site, because otherwise we could not have the studio ready on time.
Yeah, just purely the fact that you got it together under the circumstances is something to be very proud of. Excellent. All right, Andrej Miklanek is head of TV content for Slovak Telecom and also for T-Mobile in the Czech Republic. So Slovakia, Czech Republic, 2 different areas. Andrej, what have you been working on in the last year? Because you are doing the entire content portfolio, right? Linear, non-linear, OTT, VOD. You're responsible for everything, every decision in the content field there. You have, yeah, great.
Hello to everyone. If you should pick up 1 or 2 most important things, so we connected together as Slovak Telecom and T-Mobile 5 years together, and then started the process of coordinating all those content issues and content negotiations, even the program rosters regarding the linear and non-linear offers. It was different 5 years ago, and we tried to unify it as much as possible, and we did it. So the first thing was somehow unifying of the content structure and content offer in Slovak Telecom and T-Mobile TV propositions. And the second one, I would say, we find solution for exclusive sport rights and exclusive content in terms of creating new channel called Premier Sport, who is in co-exclusive or semi-exclusive, if you want, basis, even with our colleagues from Orange in the Slovak territory. So that was something like new element.
Okay. In a year without sports, you nailed it with the sports rights. That's very good.
Yes, exactly. So we have a common sport channel called Premier Sport in some common background with our partners in Slovak Republic and Czech Republic as well. In Slovak Republic, there are O2, and in Czech Republic, Orange, and in Czech Republic, O2 and O2 T-Mobile and Tele. Is a really game changer in terms of exclusive sport channels structure and regrouping the forces in Slovak and Czech territory.
All right, congrats. Well, very well done, because it's a tough year for work. Suzanne Rakels, Suzanne. Ik say Suzanne because we're both Dutch. He's a senior manager discovery and personalization. So very much the topic we're going to discuss in a second at Liberty Global. You've been with this company for a long time, 16 years. I know, because we've met previous times as well in different roles. But now you're completely responsible for the whole strategy and development of content discovery and personalization. And also leading, and that's something I'm very interested in, the Liberty Global Product Innovations Lab. So you're really working on the cutting edge. What have you done in the last year that you are proud of?
Well, you can understand that if you talk about innovation, you can't just focus on one thing. But if I have to pick two things that have to do with content discovery
Okay.
and are most important and stand for what we as Liberty Global have been doing, I think it's the integration of OTT content. So the Netflixes, the Prime videos, etc. of this world, and also a lot of local providers, integrating their content in our UI in such a way that we can offer a seamless access to that content to all our customers. And the second one, I would say, is we've been focusing a lot on how can we make our UI more personal. So personalization, looking at personal recommendations, of course, which devices you use, what's the type of content that you consume. I mean, is it more linear focus, more OTT, and trying to become more and more and more personal. And I have a lot to say about personalization in the next 45 minutes.
We'll go, yeah.
Yeah,
because we have to hurry. Already 7 minutes have passed. No, let's approach this from, okay, I want to highlight 3 different ways people deal with this, and then we'll dive into what you all share. I mean, of course, one of the huge topics is recommendations, personalization, making sure that things reach people at the right time. But there's one essential question to start with, is what happens when they're in a world full of content? There is so much you can watch, there's so much you can see. How can you be so interesting to your viewer that they will stay with you forever? Now, there's very different ways of doing this. And the first one is actually, I would like to talk to Andre, because you do something different than the other people. You say, not we're going to add more content. You actually say, let's make it smaller. And also your solution is not, okay, let's add a lot of recommendation engines and software and so forth. You work with packages you can subscribe to and unsubscribe to. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, of course, we have nothing against the recommendation engine, and this is our primary goal to go to this level. But we started on the journey to deliver the right content to the right households. This is our primary goal. Something like cherry picking on the packaging, based on the packaging logic. Our packaging structure looks like something like this. We have some ultra basic, consisting of some must-have channels like local broadcaster and so on. And then we have 6 thematic packages, which are sport thematic package, documentary, kids, music, and so on. And then we have exclusive package with our exclusive channels that consisting not only sport channels, but we have different exclusive channels, not only sport channels. And our subscribers can make a choice based on the level in our terminology called L and XL level, which is extra basic and extra basic, and then make a choice, and they can choose 3 or more of those thematic packages, and they can even change this choice on a weekly basis without any.
Because that's really special, that you can change every week if you want to, and just that means you have a user interface that's really easy. That you can just click and sign me up and take me away again.
Of course, without any additional cost. Okay, the subscribers can change this, very easily using our user interface And
do they actually do that? Because that's, of course, we are creatures of habit. We watch certain channels and we don't watch others. Do people actually change very often?
We wish then they change this much often than they do in reality. So yes, the habit is a very strong pillar of TV consumption, and it's obvious that the habit is really very strong. But there are some occasions, like I can use the example regarding something like Tour de France. We have Tour de France on the Eurosport, of course. Eurosport channels are in special dedicated sport package, and they can choose this
Yeah.
sport.
So for special events, they will just exactly
Only for this special time slot, and then they choose different package like documentary or something like this. And what is worth to mention is that all those linear packages have strong mirroring in our VOD offer. So you acquire not only something like 15 documentary channels in documentary package, but in this package is included 300 hours in our VOD library with dedicated documentary content. So that's create all this picture, which is first step on our journey to a real recommendation engine in the future.
Yeah. So on your way to potentially having a recommendation engine and having this, you choose to put packages together and allow a lot of flexibility there. I also thought it was really interesting because, of course, we talked before that I mean, many operators will go for the big Hollywood movies or, exclusive sports rights to make their offers stand out towards other offers. But you have focused on something quite different and something completely not so expensive either. And there was two things I really enjoyed hearing. One is a channel that you have localized kids channel. So Czech and Slovak localized for the Slovak Republic and not Czech for everybody. And the other thing you have to tell us about is Music Folklorica. What is that?
I remember this call with you, Monique. So if it's mentioned something like exclusive content, more or less all people are thinking about the exclusive sport. Exclusive content equals more or less exclusive sport, but exclusive sport is first too expensive, much expensive, and second is touching only very small part of subscribers. So we spread our exclusive value in different ways, and we have exclusive sport content. By the way, we have all sport you can imagine, including Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, and all those important, very expensive sport rights. But on top of that, we have BBC Earth, fully localized on exclusive basis. Then we have kids channel called Chucky. And regarding this kids channel, it's worth to mention that there was a really strong gap in the Slovak market because all kids channels are localized in Czech language. Czech language is very similar to the Slovak language, and our people are used to consume all films and documentaries and those kind of.
But we know this Flemish and Dutch, same thing,
Yes. But taking in consideration kids content, it is really very sensitive, especially for our parents and for the kids as well, because the Czech language is very similar, but is not the same as the Slovak. So that was a strong gap in our market, and we created kids channel on documentary on exclusive basis called Chucky. And last but not least is a very small part of this puzzle is a music channel called Folklorica. And folklore is something like part of our national history, is some kind of music and dancing and so on. And this is really in DNA of our nation. And we have this channel on exclusive basis. It's not expensive channel but in some special courses, it could be more important part of our exclusive puzzle, like Champions League even.
Yeah, no, and I like that. I like the focus on the very local as the most exclusive thing. Let's have a listen to what the others are doing. We'll come back to you later on. Shem, when we talked before, one thing you really stressed is this, the problems people have to choose, what I thought was very interesting is what you do at Orange is you do not only watch the data of what people do, you actually research, you get people to come in and observe them and really watch what they do when they're confronted with this abundance of content. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think now a lot of people are talking about this paradox of choice or the choice fatigue, and we are trying to figure out exactly what does it mean. So as you mentioned, obviously we are collecting data like all of us from different, sensors and devices like set-top boxes. We are interviewing people and asking them, what they want, what they feel, what they do. But beyond that, as you said, we are observing people. Actually, we are going to their households and really observing them. So doing what we do, we call ethnographical research, where we actually really observe people in their daily lives. We ask them also to really feel, notes with what they actually do on a step-by-step basis, really to figure out what they do for real. If I ask you what you have done yesterday, usually you tend to forget something that is so happening so often that you tend to forget that you are doing it on a daily basis, just because it's so usual to you. So we really kind of force people to figure out what they do, even when they think they don't think about it, because again, it's so usual. And what we figured out is that, especially when it comes to looking at content on some of the main SVOD platforms, people will spend a fair amount of time looking for something. And because of different mechanisms, like the fear of missing the right thing, or let's try another round to figure out what could be better to watch, they end up spending 15-20 minutes looking for something, and at the end of the day, what does happen is that they are going to watch something they have watched again, which seems really unexpected, because again, they have
very human.
Yeah,
you watch around and then you go back to something already.
So because again, there is so much to watch, but they end up watching something that they watched already maybe 2 or 3 times, which seems very, very strange. So it does mean that there is a need really to find a way to help them get access more rapidly to the content that they feel is suitable for them. And obviously you can work with algorithms and recommendation. You can simplify also the choice, and this is back to what Andrej was mentioning, like having the right packages, and also you have to work around the UI, the UX. How can they get to the right content more rapidly? So they will browse the same catalogs, but what will be useful for them will surface more rapidly, and they can get to it.
You have to basically reinvent the way people find the video. What is the solution at Orange? What are you going for? Because I think the recommendation engines basically are usually outside parties doing the recommendation engine, and they're sort of based on similarities. What is it that you do that's different from the standard recommendations?
Well, I think there are different ways to recommend, and different sorts of algorithm, like what you have watched already, or people like you have watched that, and you can blend different elements to it and have a kind of cocktail of algorithms. Beyond that, I think a lot of operators, including ourselves, we are looking for what we call content-centric interfaces. So the content is not displayed anymore by a category like live or VOD, or by programs like on networks like TF1 in France or Televisión Española in Spain, but rather by the content itself. People now think about content like brands. You want to watch Game of Thrones, and you have a brand which is Game of Thrones. You want to watch Big Brother. You want to watch whatever show, and you think about the show. I guess if you ask some younger people about content, they don't even know what is the network which is broadcasting the content in a kind of traditional way, but they know about the content itself. So we are trying this kind of content-centric approach, and also what we are doing is adding profiles. So typically, the kids corner or profiles that will help also people navigate in a way which is more convenient to them.
One thing that Michael of Vodafone observed, he's not here, but I'm going to mention his quote because I thought it was interesting. So there's a real generational divide when it comes to recommendations. I mean, Netflix generation uses the recommendation as a tools of discovery, so it can be quite new and different, and they will explore what is being offered up, whereas another generation will say, why are they showing me this? I don't want this. This is not a good recommendation. So it's a different attitude towards the recommendations itself. Let's move to Suzanne and ask what she's up to, because as said, she's doing cutting edge work with all kinds of different tech to make this discovery and recommendation more personal. Tell us, Suzanne, what are you up to?
Yeah, there's still a lot of things that we have developed that will that still need to see the daylight. So if I'm saying that we're going to launch a personal homepage on the set-top box, so on your TV screen, that's something that we have already done, already built, but it's something that you haven't seen yet.
When will it launch?
I know the release number, but that's not really interesting. So somewhere in autumn, I think, in the autumn.
Okay. Yes.
Of the year. And what we are doing there is already from a personalization perspective already quite advanced, because talking about the audiences you just mentioned, there are a lot of customers in our markets where some watch a lot of OTT content, but there's still like 70-80% who only watches linear. And if you have a personal homepage, you do not want to have OTT recommendations on the top of that page. You want to have your linear recommendations there, or your recordings, so the old-fashioned way. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we build up this page based upon your viewing behavior, but not only on a recommendation asset type, but a more complete way of doing that, looking at the device you're using, looking at the user patterns that you have, and indeed also the type of user that you are. But what we in our innovation lab are working on is to kind of move to a more effective way of personalization, so to say. So what, of course, we also do usability research, and we also organize co-creation sessions with customers. And what we found from these sessions and from various markets, so from Belgium, the Netherlands, the UK, is that people would like to have a bit of control back. They want to be in the driver's seat a bit more than they currently are. And if we only focus on what I call implicit personalization, they can't tell us what they really like. Maybe we can add a dislike or a like button, but that's it. But what we would like, what they asked us if they could have as tools is, for one thing, possibility to share recommendations themselves. So also from the big screen.
So that's the social aspect of,
yes,
friends,
without
family.
fully integrating a social network or introducing a new network ourselves, but trying to make it as easy as possible to, if you watch this Games of Thrones, indeed, that there's a easy way. I'm not gonna tell you how it works, because that's still a surprise. Still in innovation lab.
Ooh, gives us a few surprises. We like those.
And then share it via mobile phone, and it pops up on the big screen of your friends. It's really, really, really cool. And we investigated it, and we have a.
You could take over somebody else's screen. I could just, send it to my mother's screen. No, okay.
No,
all right.
Not to be like that. That would not be a good user experience.
Yeah.
And the second thing that people asked us, or that we kind of co-created as a feature with them and currently are doing a trial with, is what we call the follow a topic feature. People will be able to tell us what and who they want to follow. Now, quite easy is to be able to follow an actor or a director or even a franchise like Marvel, that you tell us, okay, I'm really into Marvel, and anytime there is a new type of content under that brand on the platform, we will let you know. What is a bit more advanced is the possibility to be able to follow a topic. And a topic can be anything so niche as 16th century architecture. So if you tell us that you like that, we will find that in our metadata, if we have that metadata, and if this topic is being discussed in a news or talk show, we're working together with our partner Media Distillery, who is generating metadata to get that topic then found, that metadata.
So a Media Distillery basically checks all the video content and picks up all the brands and the names and the people, and right, they add that to the info stream.
Yeah, brands, names, yes, but anything that can be a topic. Gardening can be a topic. So it's more generating indeed metadata, And then that metadata goes to our other partner in this project, which is Think Analytics, who we also is doing our recommendations engine. And together we have really cool feature. And as I just mentioned, we're currently testing this. We just ended a 2-week trial for the first phase, many more phases to follow. And we really get really high rates. People love it. And also for myself, I had to say, I'm, for example, really into Ethiopia. And so I started following that topic. And I got amazing results back.
Because it's genre, it's not specific to genre, right? So it could be news or movie or talk show or yeah.
And what is really cool for customers is that they find content they would never ever have found otherwise. But also for us as an operator, it's really cool that we are able to see that people explore the whole full width of our catalog, way more than with normal recommendations.
Yeah. And when will we see that on our screens?
We're just finalizing phase 1, which was really positive. We're now going to enter into a next phase where we're going to add a bit of UI, etc. We probably do a bit of testing there in the summer. And then we need to bring it to our product roadmap and our
could be end of this year or early next year even.
It will definitely be next year. It will not be this year anymore.
But all in all, I mean, this is a pilot, but it is a serious pilot because there's a product coming afterwards. That's a different view of what content is. It's no longer content as a format, movie, documentary. It's no longer content as a genre, you know, wildlife or adventure or whatever. It's really whatever people feel is there. It could be a country, but it could also be a hobby or whatever. Anything, right? Anything.
Yeah.
Could. I'm sure everybody will also, like people Google their own names, will just Google, will just, take whatever is very local, very specific to them, their family, whatever.
Yeah, well, you can imagine that the first part of the trial, we kept it quite small, but we indeed saw that people want to subscribe to anything between a disease in the family, a genre, cooking, until indeed a topic like Ethiopia, and anything in between. And it's from this small to that big. And that's also a bit of the challenge, that a lot of challenges that we had around this. But one of the challenges indeed was to answer the question, what is a topic? Yeah. What do people think that the topic is? And actually, everything is a topic. It's like it's the challenge. Yes. And then the next challenge is indeed, and how do we make this workable in the UI? Yeah, how does it looks appealing, etc. So that's the next step we're going to take.
When you, and let's take it back to the whole panel. I mean, one of the crucial things to be able to do this new kind of content discovery, of course, is the metadata, the data connected to all the content is there. In this case, you have an additional partner to go over all that content and extract the metadata. But you work with a lot of partners that deliver content that are themselves also aggregator. Do they mind? I mean, is everybody in this content world in agreement that you can do this? I can imagine that not, that this is something to be discussed with all the content partners you have. And I'm also wondering if Andre and Shem want to chip in on that one.
Actually, you have two challenges. I would say one is, yes, to get access to the metadata from the different content providers. Sometimes they are quite reluctant to share it, let's say, very openly. The second issue that you have to deal with is, since you have many different sources, then the question is, how can you harmonize that? Because, okay, you might get access to all the metadata of the world, but the same content might be tagged differently by a certain content provider in a different way from another one. So for your viewers, your subscribers, you want to make sure that you have some form of harmonization. So you need to ingest all the metadata and tag it in the proper way, which is going to be consistent across all the catalog, all the content, and maybe create your own categories as an operator, because you have a different way of presenting things. For instance, we know that from one geography to the other, you might present the same content in a different way. You might highlight one, let's say in a movie, you might highlight one actor in one of the countries and a different one because he's more famous in different countries. So first, you need to get access to the metadata, and yes, sometimes it comes with negotiation. And two, you need to harmonize that. So again, it's consistent across all the different catalogs, and it's presented in the right way, and the information is presented in the right way.
Or of course, like Susan, make your own metadata, because if it doesn't come with the content, you probably have to just make sure it exists.
Yeah,
right?
but it's a lot of work.
Well, it's a whole new industry.
And if I may react
sure.
to that, we only making our own metadata for the news and the talk shows because there is no metadata upfront available. But for all the other metadata, in principle, we have our partner GraceNote, and we get our.
And they generate. Yeah.
From.
Okay. There's a few questions in the chat. Just for anybody watching, ask your questions now because we have 15 minutes left, and I always have 10 questions that I can ask, but ask them now. There's a very specific one for you, André. Somebody's very interested in the exclusivity of the localized versions of some channels, and they were wondering if Slovak Telecom is in charge of the localization, operationally and cost-wise. Is this something you do, so you make it local, or is this something a partner does?
Look, regarding sport channels, we have 4 exclusive sport channels, and we are providing those sport channels completely in our own production. So the answer regarding sport channels is yes, but it's not this kind of localization, which was the meaning of the question, I suppose. Regarding BBC Earth, we have cooperation with BBC team, and they are covering the cooperation on your in your capacities. And regarding Chucky and Folklorica, in Chucky we have a local partner, and we are not doing the localization, and Folklorica is the same. So answer is except the sport channels, they are very, very specific. We are not localized those channels in our capacities, but we are using the external cooperation for the time being.
Yeah, I understand. And there's another question which is directed at Suzanne, but it's a bit broader. I don't know if I completely understand the question. Isn't it contradictory to the idea of serving the user the sought content independently from where it's being served? I'm not sure how independently is to be interpreted here, but let me just take the question and ask, is there special recommendation going on depending on mobile phone, tablet, TV, time of day, time of week, time of year? I mean, for Shem as well, what are the, how specialized does it get? Those recommendation engines getting cleverer and cleverer.
Yeah, I mean, again, there is another paradox. It can get very specialized because you can crunch a lot of data and you can keep adding data. But we have seen, I described that at the end of the day, still people are like, I can't find something which is fine to watch. So you have really to find the right balance. So obviously it makes sense to already use like kind of the macro data, like where you live, the type of household, your income, what you have watched before, etc. But one of the risks also is to get into kind of filter bubbles, where you end up presenting all the time the same content to the people, like because we have watched 10 times the same kind of movie, the 11th time they get the same type of movie again. So by the way, now when you are programming the algorithm, we ask some of the programmers to program what we call serendipity, which means that at some point in time, something which is really unexpected is going to pop up, so people don't feel like again and again I'm going to be presented the same kind of content. So you always have to think about the fine balance. And I like what Suzanne described, which is kind of a different approach to recommendation, especially also looking at what people can recommend to each other, which I think is very powerful, which is actually what we do. Andrej was mentioning the lack of social interaction, like the coffee machine, and you talk about what you have watched the day before, and maybe you did watch it, and someone is going to talk about it, and then you feel, okay, I'm going to try tonight because I know this person and he's providing the right level of recommendations to me. So it's really a kind of balance between the different mechanisms that you can put in place.
Now, we only have 10 minutes left, my God. Here are the topics that I thought we should at least briefly touch upon. Maybe you can just all give your quick opinion. First of all, this is more with Susan, because I think you guys are even broadening the type of content you want to serve. You go to podcast and things like this. I want to hear about that. Voice as a way to interact with content. Some experiences are not so positive with that as people thought 2 years ago. The virtual living room, this social aspect, and maybe, even other tech that's coming on the horizon, VR, whatever. I just want you guys to look ahead and say, these are the things we are super excited about, and this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to give all four of you 2.5 minutes. So, well, just take 1.5 minutes. Susan, you can go first.
Yay. Yes, we are currently have voice integrated in our remote control, and it's being used a lot. And we have it's quite a popular feature. And we are currently looking at what are proper use cases to extend that. So voice search, of course, voice control. And one of the things that we are looking into also is to make sure that we integrate the voice feature with smart speakers, with smart home devices in your living room. So we indeed have a special team, a smart home team that is looking at what functionality and features can we develop in order to make sure that the TV becomes smarter and the Google or Amazon devices in your home are getting smarter as well.
Oh, you don't develop your own device. You just integrate existing devices into your network of content recommendations.
Yes. We are in the content aggregation and smart feature and connectivity area, and that's what we're really good at. And we work together with the various partners. Now, with regards to your first question about the additional content, yes, before my time is up, yes, the follow a topic feature gives us that possibility. And what we learned from our co-creation sessions with customers is indeed that for customers, entertainment is more than TV. Entertainment is and TV and playing a game and listen to music, and it's all much more one thing than so far we have been building around. So if you're interested in a topic, then it's great if you not just have long form video, but also the short form video and the podcast next to that. And if you're really into certain franchise, it would be great if you have that music and those games that belong to it there as well. So that's indeed the stepping stone that we use in order to investigate what we can do and where it makes sense. And some markets are more advanced than other markets to bring these new types of content to our platforms.
Interesting. Andre, there was also a question that came in just now. So I'm going to ask you and then ask you to, tell us where you see your venture going. The question is, when we are talking about changing the package on a weekly basis, does this include OTT packages as well? And if yes, how is this being worked with partners like Netflix and Prime Video and so forth? That's a big question, but Andre, I give you the word and you can say what you have in mind.
To this question, yes, it is including the OTT. Our OTT offer is more or less mirroring our IPTV offer, is more or less the same. And for the time being, we have included regarding those VOD giants only HBO. HBO is our long-term partner. We have HBO Go, which will commute to HBO Max so very soon, and we have 5 linear HBO channels. And of course, we are discussing on the group level with the next giants like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime. And I hope we will find a way how to integrate them.
Okay, it's ongoing. It's not been sorted out yet.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
But if I may touch this connection between this recommendation logic, I would say, and content negotiations with our content partners like AMC, Discovery, Disney, and so on. There's strong connections because it's touch the metadata. They are not really happy to share with us, and I can confirm this. They are not that happy, and the reason is very simple. There are 2 important things. One is that if we want to deliver the right content to the right households, we need the huge amount of content as a background, as a 100% on the 100% level. But at the end of the day, to the households will be delivered the less content than before, because the households will make a choice what they want and what not. So, for example, if we will have some linear channels and we will give some opportunity to make a choice for our customers, not only on this packaging logic, but it will make a step further, and we will, put this logic on the next level. It will have a very obvious consequence that this channel will be delivered to the less amount of the household as before.
Yeah. Everybody selects what they want, so per channel.
They don't like it, and there are discussions about MGs and all those consequences. So our aim is to have all possible content that we can. It's not without any reasonable doubt, but we have tried to weigh how to. There was a point in the time when on the Czech and Slovak market.
We only have 3 minutes, and I also want to have Shem, so you have to wrap up almost.
Shem, it's yours.
No. Your focus is to get the right content to the right audiences, right? To families, basically, to households.
Yes. Maybe my last sentence was maybe 5 years ago, it was a competition between operators, then more channels, then better. I have 200 channels. I am the best operator on the market, but it's not true anymore. That's okay.
Selection. Shem, the Orange is a big player.
I'm going to try.
Your vision. There you go. Your vision.
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned when we started, I've been around for quite some time, and I believe in terms of the customer journey and the user experience, I mean, we have not seen really many changes. I mean, for instance, the EPG is still out there, and you can question whether or not it still makes sense. So I think 3 to 5 years from now, I think we see a really different way to access the content itself. Maybe the concept of networks itself on the interface will disappear. Voice integration will be much deeper. Maybe you will integrate, on your TV screen different types of services. For instance, we also already have music and games through our kind of TV portal, let's call it like that, and people can access music and games. So I think really kind of redefining the user experience when it comes to the TV screen. I think this is one of the big challenges that we have, and I think it's going to be quite exciting to do that.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to all 3 of you. It was wonderful to talk to you, and I really like that you all take different approaches, because it's not a set game. We all have to discover where this will go, and we'll be watching this with a lot of interest. Thank you so much.
Thanks to all, and see you next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.